recording a video for myself just as a reference as to what I'm doing to this bag, which is I'm creating hidden strap connectors at the top end of the bag, and then these straps will come down and they'll be top stitched along the edge of this pocket, which is the front of a bag. Could be the back of the bag, but I wanted to experiment and incorporate playing with hidden strap connectors. So what I did with the first one here is I've cut a little slit, which I'll do on this side, and I can show you what I did, show myself what I did when I come back to this. So I've marked the distance down where I want these hidden strap connectors to join on, and I've got my marking lines just with some chalk as to the placement line of my straps. So what I did when I stitched down this first one is I extended up this guideline just with some chalk so that I can ensure that I'm installing these straps straight. So I'm just going to extend this line up. Just going to go there and there. Just gives me a guideline. I'll grab another one of my straps. So I've got double folded straps that I've already pre-made, and I've stitched in along each side at a 1/4 inch, and then when I stitch these on, I'll be stitching them on at an 1/8 of an inch. I've already made the shoulder straps, and to continue on that look, this is the shoulder straps that I've already made, and they've already got the double row of stitching, one row at a 1/4 inch and another row at an 1/8 of an inch. So I'm sort of trying to keep that consistency going. Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my little slit here. I've already made that one there, and then I'm going to do a little angle just up to here. This will be like a little tuck under. Keep the edge neat. Make sure that's going down. Cap back on. The habit of leaving my caps off, so I've got to keep reminding myself. So I've got the folds on the outside of the bag, because then when I do the shoulder strap, that's the direction that I'll also be doing the folds. So I'm just going to see if I've got a side that I like my top stitching better on. They're both pretty good. My machine does a nice job. If I've got my bobbin tensions and things like that set how correctly, I usually find that I get a nice stitch. So I'm just lining this up underneath here. And then I'm just going to make sure that's nice and straight. Just following that little guideline there, and then I'm going to tack stitch this down. And then my little tools over the road. Go this way. So I'm keeping the stitches within the width of the strap so that the stitches aren't exposed on the outside, and I've got my stitch length set to about a 4.5, and I'll just do probably about 3 stitches. Back stitch, and I'll go over this a couple of times. My needle's going in the same holes, so it's not going to tear. I just want to make sure that I've got really secure attachment there. Trim my threads on the back. Okay, that'll all get hidden, so this will be all hidden underneath in there. So now I'll put my D-ring on. Grab my other D-ring. I have all the hardware that I'm using for a project. I just keep them in a little pouch here. Sometimes it's a bigger pouch and it just depends what hardware I'm using. Just got it all there. Don't have to keep diving looking for them. Okay, put my D-ring on. Double check, making sure my folds are going the right way. A little test because this is going to get stitched down here. And I want to make sure that's in there. Yep, I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do now as well is I'm going to do some stitching to secure this top edge down. I'll just take those little D-rings off for now. It's just more of a check. So they're all in there nice and tight and snug. If you're not sure, you can always go back and do another little row of stitches if you don't think you've caught that. Just doing a check here. Did I catch it? You can always check from the other side as well. Might just do another little row there, just in case. Just going a little bit closer to the strap. This is going to get caught as well with more stitching, and it'll have rivets. So that's nice and secure. Now I like to do a row of stitching up this end as well, just to make sure. So I will stitch this down. There. This is also stitching this down and securing it to the top of this vinyl. This is actually a vinyl that I'm using. Absolutely love it. My machine also has an automatic thread cutter. Sometimes I use it and sometimes I don't. Depends what I'm doing and whether I want to leave longer tails or not. Just trimming off some of those threads. I don't like to trim these off too short. I like to leave a little bit of tail. It's on the back there and I know it's nice and secure. So I'm using my presser foot here as a guide as to where I'm going to top stitch there. That one's done. Really happy with that. Now I'll come back over here and I'll do the same thing with this one. Who did I use as my guide? Gotta make sure. I like it to be, just double check and make sure I'm being consistent on both straps. Keep it uniformed. That's all good. They're on, nice and secure. So now I'm going to put my D-rings on. Oh, make sure you put your D-rings on the right way. I got them on the right way. No, I had them on the right way. Yep. I don't like to pull down and strain on those stitches there. You have this coming up, so those stitches are sort of underneath there, and it's not putting any pressure then on any of those stitches. Oh, I think it's going to look good. Like experimenting. Really happy with this. So, getting some double-sided tape here because this is going to hold my strap down in place. I don't want the tape to hinder with the movement of this D-ring, and I don't want it exposed underneath there. So I'll sometimes just make a little bit of a guideline as to where I want my tape to start. Stitch up there. Round about there will do. I can sort of see that through there. Out there. And keeping my tape in the center here. I could use a bit narrower tape. Making sure. Just tear that off. Now I'll just slowly peel back and position this. Made that little crease there. Can use that dot as a guide there. I'm just removing the tape sort of with this hand. I'm pulling back the tape as I'm laying down the strap, following that guideline, that chalk mark that I'd already made. I think this is going to look good. Liking that look so far. And I'll only remove the tape off up to where that strap goes. Now I'll do the same for the other strap. We got that stitched. And another thing that I like to do here is I can make sure when I get to this stage that my straps fold over at the same place. I can make a guide. I can come back this way. I need a wider ruler. Rulers are truly essential in sewing and making bags. So I'll measure here, move that little D-ring down, and just to see where that fold over is. And then I can get my ruler and line it up. I don't even have to make a marking. I can just line that up there, line that up there. Yeah, I think that'll work. So I'm just going to put some double-sided tape on the back here of this one. And we did it around about there, down the centre. I think double-sided tape, a seam ripper, rulers, and of course your sewing machine are absolute essentials for bag making, especially when you really want things to be precise. Again there, I'm just lining that back up, getting ready to do that nice little fold. Get my ruler straight. I've got my camera tripod there. Right, turn this over the right way. Get that lined up. It was on that 3/4. 2, 3, and I think there is good. Don't know me. Okay, I like that fold there. So now I'm just going to follow that line, chalk line. A lot of it's worn off there now just from handling the bag or the panel of the bag. If you feel like you've lost it before you press down, just get your ruler and you can check it. Just doing a sliding scale here. We're looking pretty good. She's pretty spot on. I must have been following my chalk line right. And just pull back that tape to the end there. Okay. Now I'm just going to trim off the paper off these ends here. Because my backs, I'll get a rivet in there and I think it looks pretty darn good. Now I just have to make sure I get my top stitching right. So at the moment I've got a 1/4 inch top stitching edge guide foot on. I'm going to just change that to my 1/8 of an inch edge foot guide. So I just keep this edge foot uses the same side foot, and then it's just a matter of changing this foot here to the size that I want. I try to do all my top stitching at once. So I'm just going to do this front panel on this bag first because it's a test, and if I stuff up I've only stuffed up one panel and I haven't stuffed up two. So that's my 1/4 inch foot. I'll put it back in. See, I had left the other toe in there. That was the foot that I was using. I'll just show you a look. So underneath you can see it's got like a little edge guide, and that little edge guide runs along the side of the material. So it really does help. I don't always use them, but for things like this, when I was sort of really wanted everything to be precise and absolutely, you know, as close as I can to perfect. Not that you'll ever get true perfect. We're humans sewing on a machine. We're not a robotic machine like a lot of the bag companies have in their factories. Screw in there going right. So this here's my 1/8 of an inch. Tighten that up and just check this foot while I'm at it. Make sure she's still nice and tight. Yep. And I just have all my feet and pre-filled bobbins in a little case, and then I label them. For my bobbins, that's another little tip. I use a little piece of double-sided tape on my pre-wound bobbins that I've already wound, and so I can come back and use them, and it keeps them all nice and neat. Don't have them all in there, but I find that's good. Oh, the toes that I'm currently working with on my machine, I generally will leave sitting up top, and I'll leave that open until I've finished working with the feet that I'm using. Okay, well, we're quite happy with how they're sitting. They're nice and strong and secure. So now we can just stitch them down. I do like to do a little test stitch whenever I change out a foot. Just got a little scrub here, just to make sure that everything's feeding through like it should, and getting that through. Just want to get my needle thread through that little hole. There's my bobbin tail. Pull them through, and I'll just do a little test. So this is my 1/8 of an inch presser foot. I can just push that material now up along that edge foot, and there's the back, there's the front, and I've got a nice neat 1/8 of an inch edge. Okay, put that to the side. I might just do a little feeder off of here, like a thread feeder, just so I don't have any loose tails there. Now I'm going to start from the bottom. I'm going to stitch up this side. I'll come across, and then I'll stitch down that side. Or I might, actually that might be nice. I like thinking of different things to do. I might start up this edge, lock stitch, and then go down, start up this edge, lock stitch and go down, and then I can rivet right between those two lock stitches there. Actually, I think I'll do that. Always thinking of different things to do. You just have to see how this foot, because some feet, this doesn't have a curved back edge. I do have an outside foot that does have a curved back edge. Yeah, let's see if it's nice and handy here. Oh, this one here, it has a nice curved back edge, but it's got the two toes, so I can't use that on this foot. But what I can do is put a piece of a scrap of the vinyl in at the back, and then that will make sure that I don't burr up the vinyl at the back. I shall put my foot over. Now, I might not be able to back that far. No, I don't think so. I'll be better off to start up this end and stop up this end. I'll be able to get closer. I love experimenting and playing. Okay, needle down. I've got slippers on, my slippers fallen off. Hopefully you can see what I'm stitching there. See if I can bring in a little bit of a different angle. I'm not sure what the lighting will be like. And here we go, doing our 1/8 of an inch. Make sure I'm not back on my top stitching, which is on a 5 length, and we should be good to go. So far we're looking good. Looking good. Might not be able to use this foot on the other side. Now I'm at that top edge here of this band. I'm gonna move my needle forward so that it sits right there, yep, on the end. And then I'm going to do a back stitch, forward, back, forward, back, and cut. Oh, I like that. I do like that. I think that's come out pretty nice. Hopefully, the glare, I'll just angle that around. Might be able to see that there. Oh, I do like that. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to because, come up this way, because my edge stitch foot is on the wrong side. I don't think it'll glide on there. I might have to see if I can come back at that same distance. Will it work? Let me get that little scrap of vinyl and we shall see. I don't think that one wants to go up any higher on that foot. I don't think we've got any hope of getting that foot under there. No. Might just change my foot, just back to my normal foot. I'll do the other side and then I'll just have to wing it myself. Hopefully be able to get the other side right. I'm pretty good at that though, so just double checking. Okay, let's go. Make sure my foot's down. Don't have as much lift as I'd like on that to do that top bit. That's where my problem is. Okay. Just make sure nothing gets stuck. I'm just folding over this side of my bag here. So sort of touching on the bed of my machine a bit on the other side there. Try and stop in the same place. That looks pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I like that. Oh, I do like that. Hopefully you can see those. I know the lighting's not the best because I've got the glare. Now I'll change that foot. Oh, they're going to be nice and secure. Really, really secure. Really happy about that. Especially by the time we put a rivet in here. Because we'll catch, when we put a rivet in, we'll be catching through here. We'll also be catching this at the back here. So that should make it extremely secure. Oh, this looks lovely. Really admiring that top stitching. Okay, change your foot. That's the other thing. Just get used to changing your feet. It really doesn't take that long. They invent all these feet for a reason. It's fun to be able to add them to your collection. Here's my little open toe foot. I've got a little magnet attached to my machine, and when I take a screw or anything out, I like to put the little magnet, attach it to the screw to the magnet, and I can't lose tiny little screws. Nice and tight. Swap out this foot. Which I probably can use. Might use that foot on top. Can I use it as a guide? I may just be able to. Alright. Let me see. Just using that as a gauge to see. You can use your foot, and I'm looking to see if there's something here on this foot that I can use to mirror over on this side. I think I can use that side as a guide. I reckon I can. I think so. Oh well, I think I've got like a bit of a guide there that I'm going to use. I'll test it out down here in the seam allowances, and we'll see how it looks. Now I need to go over a bit. Just do one stitch. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, I think it's going to be pretty good. I think so. I hope so. Okay, here goes. Hold my breath. Probably could have gone a little bit closer. Another light wing in it. Just take it stitch by stitch. Where there's a will, there's a way. Oh, I'm nearly finished at the exact spot, I think. Oh, pretty good. See if you can see. I think it looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. I found a way. It doesn't take much to amuse me. But it goes to show you learning your feet and your looking at, don't just look at the needle, look at what's around the needle and see what other tools you've got that you can use as a guide. It really does help. Now I've just got to make sure this side of my bag doesn't get caught in the throat of the machine. Just tucked it and folded it over. Make sure it glides through nicely. Getting near that top again there. Do those extra locking threads. Might come up a little bit higher, I reckon. Not quite that high. There, I like that one. Okay, there's what we have. D-rings on. Geez, they're nice and secure. Really happy with that. Now I'm going to get mark where I want to put the holes for my rivets. So I want to put my rivets sort of up above here because I really want to catch. So I'm going to put one here. As close as I can up there. Down. I can use a little ruler to gauge that. So there, I might put it right at that 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Counting away, let me just get a marker. So I can place a mark and I'll put it in the middle of that center stitching. So 1, 2, 3. We'll put one right there. And then we'll do the same on the other side. Putting a mark, coming down 3/4 of an inch from the top in the center. Go 1, 2, 3, and there. And then I'll have a look at how that lines up on the side top there. Okay, get my little hole punch. I've got a manual punch as well as the like a press punch. Things like these, this I will tend to sometimes just do, if I can get my manual punch. No, I'll need to use my punch press. I'll bring it over. And I shall just move the camera over there a little bit so I can get in here. I'll usually line it up where I think roughly, and then I don't know if you can see how I'm lining that up. No, let's see if I can take you back a bit. That might be able to see. So I've got the little point on this little tool bit here, and I'm just going to line that up, that point in that center as close as I can. And I need to step up for this one. Make sure that hole's gone right through. That looks pretty good. Get my rivets out. Large rivets for this one. Yep. Medium. Got large ones here somewhere. There I am. Make sure that the stem on the rivet is the right size. Oh sure I've got that lined in there right. Hopefully close enough. Caught the back there. Press that on. That looks pretty good. Really could have been over like, oh, maybe a millimetre or two, that little hole. Like so minimal. Okay, let's do the other one. That lined up. Stand up. Put that on there. D-rings out. Like sort of pinch around that base bit there. Try and make sure it's evenly centered. Hopefully. Hopefully, we got it. Put the rivet in. Looks pretty centered. Turn it over. You can too put glue on the back, but I'm pretty sure once you get these in, it sort of holds that down there as well. Oh, that one's absolutely spot on. See if you can see, got it dead center in those stitches, and this one I'm probably out like a millimetre. So minimal. Now I'm going to get my snap press, rivet press. Okay, and then we'll press those into place. I've already got the right size dies and that in here. Give it a good strong press. Same with this one. Give it a good strong press. Oh, I'm really happy with those. Oh, I'll just put this one back. They're heavy, those presses. I usually have them over there and I take the work over there. So let's have a look. I've got dirt on my finger there. Hand press is going rusty. And there is the end result. Let's see if we can get a bit better. There's that strap. Put this up a bit. Hello. There I am. Anyway, so this is what we've ended up with. Rivet, rivet. It sounds like I'm saying ribbit, ribbit. But yeah, I think that is going to be gorgeous. Well worth the extra effort. This was a little test run to see if my little idea was going to work. And I think it works a treat. So I've got snap press there for the pocket. Gorgeous little lining on the inside of that pocket. It's a nice big size too. I made sure that that the pocket was going to fit my phone. So I think that. See my mess in the background there. Anyway though, yeah. So yeah, can everyone see it all in plain sight. This is another one of my bags, my design here. Having a little bit of fun. Love this fabric, or this vinyl. It's a vinyl. You can see it's got texture. Look at that. It's beautiful. And I just thought it just makes a nice sort of, just a real neutral bag. Go with just about any colours. Yeah, I really like that. think it's pretty nice. Okay, that's all. Back to finishing the bag. Bye.